Last question. That was Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and Speaker Paul Ryan. They are in West Virginia at a retreat talking about how they're going to try to set up the Republicans for success in 2018. Joining me now, Guy Benson, political editor at townhall.com, and Leslie Marshall, syndicated radio talk show, are back with me. You stayed and listened to that, and I appreciate it. I don't know how much time we'll have, so let me just start and talk about this Nunes memo. One of the things that, Guy, I'll start with you. Speaker Ryan said that Pelosi and Schumer would like nothing more than to get us sidetracked and focusing on the memo. But hasn't it been the Republicans for the last 2 weeks who have been hashtagging release the memo, and that they have hyped it to the point of being sidetracked?
Yeah, that's true. So in the opening statement, you hear from McConnell and from Ryan lots of talk about the tax bill. And with good cause, it's working very well. And the economy, not a single question about those issues, maybe one question, I think, on immigration, everything else on the memo. And it is tough, as you point out, for Republicans to play victim here because they've been pounding the drum on release the memo, and now it looks like the memo is going to be released. I think at this point you have to release it. I think there's probably some information in there that is concerning based on what we've heard. But to Speaker Ryan's point, he said the most transparency possible is the best course of action. That's why I think the Republican memo and the Democratic memo and as much of the underlying intelligence as possible should be released all together. We'll see if we get that. I think one way or the other we probably will. Either it's done through official channels or some of it is going to leak.
Yes, Congressman John Ratcliffe was on earlier, and Leslie, he's an expert in FISA. He spent the majority of the day yesterday looking at all of these documents in a secure facility. He said he was not for releasing the underlying documents, so there must be something of concern there. But I do think that Speaker Ryan would not have authorized this to go forward if he wasn't concerned. One thing I think that is impossible for me to try to understand is this has gone on while at the same time the Mueller investigation is heating up, and yet the Republicans continue to try to say that the Nunes memo has nothing to do with the Mueller investigation. Have they been successful in trying to separate those two?
Absolutely not. This seems, when they say the Democrats want a distraction or that this is political, that they themselves are doing this. I mean, look, the president has said to advisors in the past that he wants it released. He would gain by this, perhaps. It could help to diminish or discredit the investigation. It could also help him to get rid of senior officials within the DOJ or the FBI, without question. Additionally, we've seen in the last 24 hours that Adam Schiff said that there were changes made by Nunes himself. The FBI has said, please, do not release this because there have been omissions and changes that they do not agree with. If you're going to have this information released, which I believe it should, it has to be released in its entirety. It cannot be edited, there cannot be omissions, and there cannot be changes.
I imagine that will be out there. You know, the FBI Agents Association has just released a statement saying that it is supportive of the FBI director, Christopher Wray. But there's also, Guy, while that press conference was going on, a report that there are concerns at the White House that FBI Director Wray may be considering resigning over all of this. What do you think would happen if that were the case?
That would look bad. That would add to more chaos. I would point out that this accusation from Adam Schiff about the alteration of the memo, what Nunes and the Republicans are saying is those alterations were made at the behest of the Justice Department and the FBI and of Schiff and the Democrats themselves. So, look, I am not someone who doesn't believe that the Republicans have a political motive here. Of course they have a motive. Of course they have an agenda. But we shouldn't pretend that the Democrats don't either. Adam Schiff and his crew have been leaking like a sieve in furtherance of their own agenda. They're also playing politics.
Yeah, and Leslie, what about that? Because Democrats have often pointed to the FBI as being overreaching. And if there is a problem that they've uncovered in that Title I part of FISA, and if somebody was unfairly targeted and there is a concern there, do you think the Democrats would be willing to say that's not good?
Oh, absolutely, and I think they should, but you can't if you don't have all the information or if you have information changed. And I have to say, for a guy that's not supposed to have anything to do with any kind of a link to a Russian investigation, and depending how you connect the dots, there could be here, Nunes himself is questionable, and that's not just on the left side among Democrats.
Well, apparently John Roberts reported earlier this might get released tomorrow morning, so we have yet another night to wonder about releasing the memo. Guy Benson and Leslie Marshall, thank you.
Thanks, Dana.
Thank you, Dana.